Hello, this is Tia, and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another Hermitcraft season Clockwork episode. We're on episode 15 technically. So technically, these episodes stuff are weird because they're technically parts. No, it's not technically episode 15 of this little read-along thing. Like, it's far from it, but this is like episode 15 of the overall story. Yeah. And yeah, I'll be reading chapter 7. And if we have time, chapter 8. But we'll see. We'll see. I am keeping an eye on the time. And let's get to it. If you haven't watched any of the other parts yet, be sure you do so because spoilers, you know, the big stuff, the things that you don't want to see, the spoiled stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get started. Chapter 7. Pearl slowly regained consciousness as she groggily opened her eyes, finding herself lying on the cold stone floor beneath her. She sat up as she looked around the dimly lit room around her. So, this was this was what being captured by Mr. A's men looked like. Well, at least she'd assumed she'd been captured, seeing as she was no longer in her home or anywhere with someone who wasn't Mr. A or his men. She stood up shakily as she rubbed her eyes, trying to adjust to the dim lighting. She took in the room, noticing the stone brick around her, and the iron door that had some of the light. I don't know what that sentence was. Psst. A hushed whisper to her lips said, trying to get her attention as she looked over to see a pair of eyes peeking through a small hole in the wall. She noticed a stone brick on the floor on her side. She went over to pick it up. Korean, what are you doing here? She asked when she looked through the hole. We're pretty much all in the same boat right now, Korean admitted quietly. Then were able to get back up and knock us out. We put up a good fight, but wasn't enough. Where's Scar? Jem, Devon, Pearl asked. I don't know about Jem or Devon, Korean stated. I'm sure they're looking for us, so. Pearl nodded. Scar? Across the hall. Korean replied matter-of-factly. I've been trying to get his attention, but the guards in the hallway kept telling me to stay quiet. They don't want us talking to each other. Pearl sighed. How long do you think we've been here? At least today, Korean shrugged. We should try to get out of here, if we can. I don't really want to know what Mr. A wants with us. You wanted to meet me and Jem, she replied. Pearl replied quietly. That's why we were forced to leave our home. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Korean stated sympathetically. I'm sure Devon's taking charge and making sure Jem is safe, though. That's good, Pearl smiled. Now, what is your game plan for escaping? I honestly don't know, Korean admitted sheepishly. Originally, it was just waiting until either of us had a visitor to taking them out. Well, I do have this, Pearl mused, holding up the brick. This is gonna hurt, Korean said with a grin. Do you think it'll work? That's hard to know for sure, Pearl replied quietly. It's worth a shot. Korean nodded his head. You okay with it in there, though? What did that guy do to you? I'm not sure. Some sort of sleeping potion or something, Pearl said thoughtfully. It smelled weird. Right, Korean nodded his head. I guess we just lie in wait. I would try to tell Scar, but I don't think I can without revealing it to the guards. We'll look at everyone else, Pearl promised. No one gets left behind. Definitely, Green agreed as he slipped away from the hole and disappeared from the sight. Pearl stepped away as well, looking over towards the door, wondering when their visitor would arrive to finish them. If you're wondering about the sleeping potion, it's kind of based off Sleepy Stampy in Stampy's Lovely World. The men must have found a sleeping potion or taken what the ingredients list that Viva had and made stuff out of it. I don't know. Maybe. It's not confirmed nor denied, but it is a way of doing it. They could have found their own way of doing it, or they stole it. They are very well known for stealing stuff and using it for their advantage. Not be surprised if they just stole it from right under their noses. Oh yeah, it's just interesting. It's not canon, but it's just an interesting thought. It's just what was inspiring. That's what inspired me to do it. Well, that's just an extra note. Let's get right back to it. Pearl wasn't sure how much time had passed. The room was dark, with no windows anywhere to be seen, so she had no way of knowing where they were. Grian had seemed confident that they were still in the same world, though. That was a good sign, at least. Still, they had to get out of here first. She knew it wouldn't be easy. Her thoughts were interrupted when there was a commotion outside, and she stood up and went over to the cell door, seeing the one across from her was opened. There was a couple of figures in there trying to apprehend someone. She knew it was, without having to see them. "What are you doing?" Pearl asked across from the hall as one of the men stepped out. He looked tired, like he'd rather be anywhere but here. "Mr. A is here, and he wants to meet all of you," the man said matter-of-factly, pointing back to the room. "Starting with him." "Yeah, I don't know about that," Pearl said with a frown. "What do you mean?" the man snapped. "Did you really say that, or were you just told to do it by somebody else?" Pearl tested. "Told me yourself, you tipper," the man growled. "Now, why don't you just sit in your cell like the other one's doing? Nice and quiet." "Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about quiet," Pearl mused. "Silence isn't always a good thing. You should know that better than anyone." "You're really testing my patience right now. We have some place to be," the man sighed as he looked back into the room. The other guard pulled out Scar, who appeared to have a few new bruises she wasn't aware of. "Yeah, and I fancy having a chat with you, or maybe with Mr. A if you like," Pearl said cheerfully. "He has said he wanted to meet me, is that correct?" "You'll get your turn," the man snapped. "Come on, please. I'm sure he won't mind," Pearl said pleadingly, making eye contact with Scar, who looked perplexed, saying nothing. "Like I said, you'll get your turn later," the man scowled. "But I insist," Pearl pressed. "She does seem eager," the guard holding Scar said. "Maybe she'll be more cooperative." The first man shook his head slowly. "Mr. A wants to see them individually. He never said specifically that he wanted to see Scar first, did he?" Pearl inquired. "No," the first man said sourly. "Then why not take me to him?" she offered. "Better not be up to something," the man said in annoyance. "Put the other one back in the cell. We're taking her with the two. Yep. Awesome," Pearl said happily as she stepped back from the door. The second man dragged Scar back into the cell. Almost as soon as the door opened, she landed on the first man, knocking him against the wall hard as his body crumpled to the floor. She turned just in time as the second man ran out of the room, startled as she pulled out the stone brick and threw it at him. The man ducked as she lunged, tackling to the ground. "Yeah!" Sycophant hollered as Pearl smiled over him, hearing Scar walking out of the room, picking up the bone brick and holding it out to her. "Would you like to see others?" Scar offered with a casual smile. "Sure," Pearl said as she took the brick, and the man attempted to push her off him. Scar went to the other door to release Grian. "Whatever you're thinking, it's not going to work," the man scowled. "You don't know that," she said smugly. But before she could do anything with the brick, the man managed to shove her off him. As she looked up, seeing both Scar and Grian heading for another room, she followed them, hearing the men shout, "Fine." "The prisoners are escaping!" the man shouted as Pearl followed Scar and Grian into a small room with a few chests. "Get your stuff," Grian stated matter-of-factly as Pearl barricaded the door. Pearl nodded as she opened the chest and took her stuff. The medkit, her elytra, weapons, food, and anything she'd been carrying were there. She slipped on her wings as the other two went to the wall and began to dig upward. "Open the door!" a voice hollered from the other side. "Not happening!" Pearl hollered back. "If you don't, there will be consequences," the voice shouted back. "I have no problem blowing this up." "I don't either." Pearl fused as she filled in the hole they'd made as she followed the boys before she saw sunlight pouring. "Do we just fly?" Scar asked nervously after she climbed out of the hole, filling the last few bits, just as an explosion rumbled the ground at her feet. "Where to?" Green asked with uncertainty, looking around the empty area around them. "Cub is close by, I think." "Then let's go to Cub's," Pearl suggested, though I have a feeling Mr. A won't let us off that easily. "Oh, you're right about that," a cold voice said from behind them. Pearl glanced back to see a half-dozen men standing a few dozen feet away. "I suggest you give up now while you have the chance." "You'll have to catch us first," Pearl said firmly, looking over at the other two, who nodded as she pulled out some rockets. "Oh, we will," the man said darkly, as she and her friends launched into the air, gliding away from the men as she looked straight ahead. "I can't believe you just did that," Scar said with a chuckle. "How did you pull that one off, Pearl?" Pearl shrugged. "Just lucky, I guess." Their conversation was interrupted as arrows flew around them as the three flew higher up. She glanced back down to see that the men were attempting to chase them, falling behind. "They're really trying," Green muttered to the group. "Let's get higher, out of range." Pearl didn't argue as she launched herself even higher, out of range of the arrows. Her blood ran cold, though, when she heard a grunt of pain. She looked back in time to see Scar faltering in midair before beginning to fall. She dived back down, passing Green, who was looking back as well, as she managed to grab Scar by the hand, pulled him back up to the same height as the man groaned. "Thanks," Scar said with a small smile, clutching his shoulder gingerly. "Are you okay?" Pearl asked with concern. "I'll be fine. We can deal with it when we get to Cubs," Scar admitted quietly. "That was a good shot. Thanks again for saving me." "Anytime." She smiled as she let go of his hand and glided onwards, not looking back as she heard the sounds of the men trying to persuade them. It didn't mean they weren't going to. Hopefully they'd be able to get away from them long enough to get help. Chapter 8. It didn't take long until she could see Cub's base on the horizon. Even though it felt like ages of flying to her, it had only been a few minutes of gliding. She spotted a flat spot to land and dove down gracefully, knowing her friends would do the same. She landed perfectly on her feet as she looked back, seeing both Green and Scar land gracefully as well. Scar was still clutching his shoulder gingerly, the arrow having fallen out somewhere during the trip. "Let's get inside," she said matter-of-factly, looking over to Cub's base, as the two of them agreed. She wasn't sure how long they had, but they needed to act quickly, yet if they had any chance of getting out of this. She led the two other YouTubers to the front door of Cub's base, getting a few feet of it when it opened and Cub stepped out. "What are you three doing here?" Cub asked in surprise. "Last time I remember, you disappeared." "Yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle," Green admitted. "We managed to escape from Mr. A for the time being." Cub nodded and ushered them inside. "Anything I can do for you?" Get for you? "Maybe something to eat," Pearl suggested, as she walked into the house, heading for the main room as Scar followed shortly behind with Green. Once the YouTubers were all inside, Cub closed the door and pressed a button nearby. "Security is on. If anyone or anything tries to break in, we'll know," Cub said matter-of-factly. "I'll be right back. Hang tight." Pearl nodded as she gestured for Scar to sit down and she put down the medkit, looking inside. "Surprised men didn't empty this out." "Really?" Green asked. "I guess they didn't know they could look at it." "Maybe?" Pearl pondered as she pulled out a towel and a healing potion, dousing the white towel with the potion as she handed it to Scar, who put it on his shoulder gingerly. "That should help. This is definitely helping." Scar said with a relieved sigh. I've got some bandages if we need them. Pearl calculated, looking back in the box. I think I'll be good. Scar mused. It's not deep. That's a relief, she replied as she put the box away. Do you think the men will follow us here? Green asked with a frown. I hope not, Pearl stated simply. We really need a plan for that, though. Yeah, Scar nodded. We don't want what happened last time to happen again. The conversation was interrupted when Pearl heard footsteps from the hall as she turned just in time to see Cub walk in with a platter of food. Hope I'm not interrupting something, the YouTuber mused sheepishly. Not really, Rena admitted, as the platter was laid on the table. Well, feel free to duck in. I'm gonna go update the others that you're here. Maybe stay we're safe, Pearl interjected. You never know when Mr. A's men are listening in. They could. Are they looking for you? Cub frowned. Probably, yeah, Pearl replied. I could do that. YouTuber replied. Where's your escort? Scar asked curiously. Cub shrugged. He wants to help look for you guys. He seemed confident that I'd be fine on my own here, especially with Impulse's new machine. It'd be nice if we had a portable version, Scar admitted, so that if we are not home, we could send for help. That's something to talk to Impulse about. Cub chuckled. I'll see you three in a bit. Don't be too long, Rory answered cheerfully, as the YouTuber nodded and left them alone. He took a bit of food from the platter and happily downed it. That's the way to say it. Pearl took some as well, handing a bit to Scar, who took it gratefully. They didn't say much throughout the meal as they waited in silence. Pearl glanced out of the window, seeing the trees beyond, wondering whether the men were actually looking for them. Hopefully they'd give up and call it a quits. She doubted it, though. Mr. A wasn't a man to take no for an answer. She's got that right. Yeah. Anyway, think about that. I think that's about does it, because the next one is chapter 9, and it's episode 16. We are three-quarters of the way done. We're over halfway now. Nice. At least with this story, I managed to get to both the episode all in one. Episode 15 is all in one, and the next will be episode 16, and yeah, we're getting there. Things are about to get spicy in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that might be. Have fun. Be sure to comment down below any thoughts, questions, concerns, anything. And yeah, I'll see you whenever I see you again. Not really. Just something that I say now. People seem to not mind. So, hi. I'll see you later. Bye.